Hi everyone, today we're going to have some fun and maybe study a little English, but I just want to take you to some fun places, beginning with Mount Rushmore. "著名的总统山就在南达科他州，展现了美国4位总统的面容。George Washington represents America's founding. Thomas Jefferson represents America's expansion. Abraham Lincoln represents America's preservation. And Teddy Roosevelt represents America's growth. I was very happy to see Mount Rushmore in person. My son Daniel was also excited to be here and finally be able to see this monument that over 2 million tourists come to visit each year. 哇，在 Mount Rushmore 这里可以登山 hiking. And you can see Mount Rushmore. Take a look. We are walking on the Presidential Trail, where you can learn new things as you walk. You can also visit the museum at Mount Rushmore. Here, you can learn about Gutzon Borglum. Borglum designed and directed the sculpting of Mount Rushmore. Borglum worked on this project from 1927 to 1941. He hired 400 miners to help him. These men were not artists, but they knew how to use dynamite. It was very dangerous work, but no workers were killed in the completion of this project. Unfortunately, Borglum passed away in March of 1941, and he never got to see the completed project. His son Lincoln completed the project in October 1941, including a secret room behind the sculptures. As we continue driving through the Black Hills of South Dakota, we traveled along the Needles Highway. And here we drove through the famous Needles Eye Tunnel.
Here we go. So tight. Made it.
The Needles of the Black Hills are beautiful granite structures that were unlike anything we had ever seen before. Next, we drove to one of my favorite destinations, Custer State Park. Here, I enjoyed being able to see all the animals, including wild turkeys, prairie dogs, pronghorn sheep, and of course, bison. 这边的湖 lakes 也很漂亮。On our way to our next destination in Deadwood, South Dakota, we passed by the Pappy Hoyle Campground. This site is very popular, especially to the many motorcycle riders who ride through this area each summer. It has many interesting metal sculptures that you can photograph and even climb on.
Free show inside, 3 o'clock, story of Wild Bill Hickok.
The final stop on our trip through South Dakota is the historic town of Deadwood. Deadwood was one of the biggest towns of the Wild West. Many people came here in the 1870s when gold was discovered nearby. And one of the most famous people to come here was Wild Bill Hickok, the famous lawman, gambler, and gunfighter. Wild Bill Hickok, one of America's most famous gunslingers, met his end right here in this saloon. This is Deadwood, South Dakota. Let's go take a visit and see what Deadwood has to offer today. All right, yeah, well, we got to tell you, if you visit Deadwood, you can come here and you can come see a show, and it's going to be a really good experience for you to learn more about the history of a young America. And Wild Bill will be here himself, and you can learn more about what it means to live in Deadwood back in the 1800s. Is that right, Bill?
It is exactly right.
Everybody, welcome to Deadwood!
Right.
said he wanted to do an interview with me. Now, maybe I did exaggerate just a tad. I went from being James Butler Hickok to being Wild Bill Hickok, the greatest gunfighter the West had ever seen. I guess story time's over. I need 4 volunteers out of y'all. There's one right there. Afternoon, fellas.
Hey, come in.
All right, I tell you what, now get out of that chair now.
Look.
Bill didn't win this argument,
my horse.
and on this rare
Right here.
occasion,
Let's
he
go.
settled down, sending
Fine.
his
I'll
back
take
to
your
the
money
door.
and I'll take the chair,
So
Charlie.
kept Bill
What's the matter with it now,
allowing him to be at left table, pausing briefly behind each player, and analyzing.
Yeah, what are you doing? We don't need you lurking. Get out of here. You can let him in here today, Carl.
Get this shot, Bill. Get your shot, Bill. Come on, let's go. Get this shot, Bill. Get him now.
谢谢收看今天的节目。下一次和我一起去北达科他州 North Dakota，拜拜。